Hey everybody, it's the old man here. Decided to come in for a visit. It's been a while, but I recently had a conversation with my grandson's mother, my daughter, and my grandson was privy to it. And during this conversation, I think he got a little more red-pilled. One of those little gems. There was a period in time when I first got divorced and custody was being settled. I lost my job and my apartment, so I couldn't keep the girls because there's no help for men. Let's face it, and I'm talking back in the 1980s, there was no help for men. None. I mean, if you lost your apartment, there was no Section 8 housing for a man and his daughters. They would force you to give up the kids. So I surrendered them to their mother. This was terrible on several different levels, but it was the day and the time. I had no one to help me. I had no one to give me a hand, and I had no governmental agency that was willing to give me and my children a place to live. So I surrendered them to their mother. Well, we went to court. Got the child support settled. I started working again. I started to pay my support. The judge was a little more sympathetic to me, I think, because the children and I were the family unit for well over a year before I lost my job. And once that happened, once I start getting back to work and I could pay, he was even more generous to me. Well, there came a point in time where I didn't have the paperwork that I could show the police or the sheriff when I went to go pick up my kids, and she just stopped letting me get them. She would refuse me to get my children. She would come out, meet me at the car and say, "No, you can't have them." And I knew if I said anything or did anything, she would call the cops. I'd get arrested. I'd lose my job. And then I'd be right back to square one again. So this went on for several weeks. It stretched into 3 months. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't afford a lawyer. And my grandson's sitting there and he's listening to all of this. And at one point, she would let the girls pack their clothes for the weekend, get ready. She would tell them that I said I was coming, when she had already forbidden me to go pick them up. And she would let them wait there for me until 10 o'clock at night and say to them things like, "Well, I guess your father's friends and girlfriend means more to him than you do." I didn't even have a girlfriend. I had no money. I had nothing. I barely had a roof over my head. I was renting a room. And she would do this every weekend. And they were destroyed about this. Well, finally, I went to the probation department. And in New Jersey, that's where child support is arranged, through the probation department. And I went to the probation department, and I waited my turn, and I sat down with a probation officer, and it was an older woman, and she already saw that I had tears in my eyes, and she said, "What can I do for you?" I said, "Look, I've been to court, I pay my child support, I had court-arranged visitation, it's only 4 days a month I get to spend with my daughters, and she won't even let me have that anymore. She refuses to let me see them. I have no paperwork that I can show the police department. I have nothing." I said, "I don't know what to do." And for some reason, maybe she was a little less of a feminist, I don't know. She opened up a desk drawer, pulled out a sheet of paper, began to take down all my information. Name, social security number, address, who's the judge, all that information. And she looked it up on the computer, and she copied a bunch of other stuff down. And she looked at me, and this was Monday morning. And she looked at me and said, "You should hear from your ex-wife by Wednesday afternoon. And if you don't, here's my number." She gave me her business card. "Call me." I said, "All right." And then as I was getting up, she says, "As a matter of fact, call me either way." I went, "Fair enough. Thank you." By Monday morning, 10 a.m., my phone rang. My ex-wife was on the phone screaming at me that I had no right to go to probation and report her for not letting me see the kids. And I said, "Lady, this is what you were doing to me." I had no idea that she had done the other things to them. In fact, there were so many things I didn't know she was doing to them. And my daughter is 40 years old, and she's still telling me some of the horror stories she went through with her narcissistically abusive mother and her boyfriend. Later became her husband. While my grandson is sitting there listening to all of this, he's learning that they can't be trusted at all. So it was another one of those moments when my daughter got up and walked away. My grandson started peppering me with questions about the whole thing. And I said, "This is why you need to avoid family court at all costs." He goes, "Yeah, but how do I avoid family court? You can't get married, you can't live with them, and you can't have children with them. This is why I have been stressing to you, my grandson, that you have children through surrogacy. It's arranged through a lawyer, and you will never have to worry about some woman stealing your child away from you." These stories, these incidences that we've all suffered through, are learning lessons for our nephews and our grandchildren. They are all moments that we need to share with them, no matter how humiliating, no matter how heartbreaking. They need to listen. They need to hear them. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to share this stuff with them. Don't be afraid to let them know what really happened to you. No matter if you think it was humiliating or not. Because remember, we all started out as blue-pilled men. We all drank the Kool-Aid that our parents served up to us. We all believed that the be-all, end-all was to get married and to raise a family. It's just that they changed the rules on us, and we didn't get the memo. Thanks for listening to an old man and giving him a few moments of your time. Y'all have a good evening. Bye.